Here we are, the eve of the ALCS, the battle for Texas, and we brought in Brice Paterick from Locked On Rangers. We're gonna break down this ALCS, the first ever battle between these two teams in the playoffs. Let's talk about it. It's gonna be an exciting game, an exciting show. Let's go.
Welcome to Locked On Astros, your daily Astros podcast. Here are your hosts, Eric the Man Huysman and Brett H-Town Wheelhouse Chancey.
We are Locked On Houston Astros, and we hope that you join for a daily Locked On Astros podcast. My name is Eric Huysman. You find me on Twitter at Eric Talks Stros. You find the show at Locked On Astros, your team every day. We're also joined by Brice Paterick of the Locked On Rangers podcast. He is down there. So if you want to go ahead and follow him too, you can follow him somewhere. He'll give him his X handle in a second. But Brett, where can he find you at?
They can find me on X, TikTok, and Instagram at H-Town Wheelhouse. They can find me on X, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook at Stros411. Always positive, always Stros. Positive. I love it when we have Brice on. Brice, tell everybody where they can find you and your show.
You can follow me on Twitter at Brice Paterick. You can follow the show at Locked On Rangers and wherever you get your podcast. Y'all, thanks for having me on. Should be a fun series. That's definitely not at all stressful and already making me, extremely anxious.
Well, in honor of the Texas Showdown, I decided to wear my cowboy hat today, and I didn't wear my whole Rip attire, but Rip from Yellowstone, that's my Halloween costume. But I just think that this is going to be a great matchup. There's already a lot of bad blood between the two teams. We saw what happened earlier this year between Martin Maldonado and Marcus Semien. So there's definitely been a lot of history. I know it doesn't go back that far, but there has been a lot of history, and it doesn't help that we're right down I-45. Yes, it's a 3.5-hour drive, but I think that you're going to see a lot of Rangers fans coming down. You're going to see a lot of Astros fans going up. So I think it's going to be a great series. And guys, you know what's also great? Making the part Locked On Astros or Locked On Rangers, if you want to do so, part of your daily listen. Become an everydayer. Somebody listens to our podcast every day. Go and subscribe to us on YouTube. Go and make us your first listen on Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcasts. Go and check out the Locked On Astros podcast. And so we got a lot to talk about. All AL West, all Texas, ALCS. Whoever wins this is going to go to the World Series. And this is the first time that you can guarantee somebody from Texas is going to the World Series. Who will it be? The Astros or the Rangers? We'll have to see. Who has the advantage with the starting pitching? A lot of people would say the Rangers, but they're kind of nicked up a little bit. We'll have to talk about that with Brice. The bullpen. I think that what we've seen so far in the postseason, Astros bullpen has been pretty locked down, and the Astros have taken care of some of the some relievers in there. So we'll have to talk about with Brice how the bullpen's doing so far in postseason. What about the lineup? Who has the edge with different positions? We'll talk about that. And what are some key factors for the Astros to win? What are some key factors for the Rangers to win? And overall, what are some surprises that Brice has seen? What are surprises that we've seen with the Astros? So just some of the topics we're going to cover on this crossover edition of Locked On Astros and Locked On Rangers podcast.
Yeah, hey, Brice, I just want to say we got a lot of fans in here from our show. Looks like we've got some fans from your show as well. They're welcoming you in. We love it when anybody stops in and says hi. But look, here we are, Brice, the Astros and the Rangers. It's not the Mariners. It's not the Angels. It's the Rangers. And the Rangers maintain pace all year long, despite the last week of the season and even the last series of the season that we played y'all, where it looked like things were just nosediving for y'all. Y'all found a will. You found a way. And now coming to the ALCS undefeated. How does that feel coming into the ALCS 5-0, no hiccups, just seemed like y'all just rolled through the Blue Jays. It looked like the Orioles weren't even ready for the playoffs. How are you feeling right now?
Oh, I'm feeling great. I mean, the Rangers against the Orioles, they only were down for a half inning, I think. Like, they just absolutely held a chokehold on that entire series, which I mean, given the way the vibes were rolling heading into the postseason and all that, celebration gate nonsense bullcrap that was happening, and to walk in and like punch the Rays in the mouth and sweep them in 2 games and have them just completely unravel down there. I mean, defensively, they were just on their heels. And then a good Orioles team where the Rangers just took it to them. And I think the most surprising game of that series was game 1, where the Rangers had to do a bullpen game of, Andrew Heaney and Tate Dunning, and then the rest of the bullpen holding. And it was a 1-run game throughout the home stretch with the Rangers bullpen held, which the whole story of this entire team, if the Rangers, I've been saying this all season, if the Rangers had a mediocre bullpen or even a medium bad bullpen, this is like a 105 win team, because it was just so historically bad down the stretch. But hey, they have Jose Leclerc in the closer's role. He's been really solidified. Josh Boers, it seems like when he's healthy, he's really good. He wasn't healthy for a few stretches and got absolutely lit up, but now it seems like he's healthy and rolling. And well, Aroldis Chapman is present, and we all know the deal with him. So, yeah, I mean, in the postseason, you don't need to go to as many relievers. So the Rangers have been able to rely on the few relievers who have been good.
Yeah, what you saw this, and I think I saw Ken Rosenthal kind of talking about this, is the Astros have kind of been kind of conservative with their trades. Yes, they went in and traded back for Justin Verlander, but I think they realized that they needed to address the starting rotation, and so they needed to bring Verlander back. And Verlander said in his locker room celebration statement, he said, I haven't been here all year, but we went through a lot of controversy. We went through a lot of stuff, but here we are now, 7th straight time. But what we saw the Rangers doing is, hey, we're here. Let's go ahead and trade part of our future. They traded Reagans, I think his name was, the starter, to the Royals for Aroldis Chapman. At the time, I'm sure that was a good idea because he was having a good season with the Royals. And you know how Jose Altuve fares against him. We've seen that when he was with the Yankees. But I think that what the Rangers have done is they've definitely created this great team. But they are pretty much evenly matched at this point. I would say that there's certain parts of the team that the Astros are definitely head over heels better. But there's some parts of the team that I think the Rangers might have the edge there. So we'll talk about that in a second. But what does it mean for Dallas? What does it mean for Houston? I'll ask both of y'all. What does it mean to have both teams in such a critical series with everybody in America looking at us saying, okay, there's all this drama. There's all this hatred from both sides. What's going to happen this series? What's going to happen? This is going to be fun.
Well, I think to start off, you have to really look to the players first, right? Because if you go look at social media, it is a bloodbath right now. I mean, people are just going at each other left and right. Of course, I know a lot of it's banter and a lot of it's fun, but man, it gets real serious real quick. But when I read quotes from like Jonah Heim, Jordan Montgomery, Justin Verlander, Jose Altuve, both of these teams know what's at stake. They both know that the team on the other side of the field is very good and very competitive. The Rangers know that the Astros had their number during the regular season, but the Astros don't walk into this going, well, we were up 9-4. We won the silver boot. So we're just going to go into the ALCS and it's going to be business as usual. This is not the same Rangers team that's streaking right now that when we swept them and swept you guys in September, Brice. I mean, you guys are playing way better. Your offense is responding. And so I think for the bigness of the series, the players is where I look to first, not the fans. And the players tell me that this is serious business. We know how important this is. And I think you're going to get a Class A effort out of both teams. And I don't think either fan base is going to be disappointed.
Well, I will definitely be disappointed if it ends up my team losing. I'll be very sad and have a lot of.
Well, yeah, that. But in other words, it won't go without showing that your team or my team gave it their all is what I'm saying. But yeah,
I think so too. But I think this is great for the sport because, I mean, for years and years and years, the only rivalry in baseball that anyone really talked about or cared about is, oh my God, Yankees, Red Sox. Oh my God, Yankees, Red Sox this, Yankees, Red Sox that. And like, okay, there was some spice there. 2004 was amazing. This is going to be the best ALCS, I think, since 2004. I mean, these two teams do not like each other. These two fan bases do not like each other. And this is a great rivalry. I mean, two esteemed Hall of Fame managers, stars on both sides of the field, two different, dichotomies of been there, done that, and trying to do that for the first time in the Rangers. And like, this is everything you want in one of these late round postseason matchups. And, part of me didn't want this matchup because the Astros are really good. And if the Rangers lost in the ALCS to the Twins, I'd be like, oh, well, really great season. But if you lose the Astros in the ALCS, it's like, oh my God, I'm never going to hear the end of it ever. Just like y'all will never hear the end of it ever if the Rangers end up pulling this one off.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to that. We're not sleeping on the Rangers. We know they're a good team. So, Brett, this episode is brought to you by Sleeper.
Yeah, that's right. The MLB playoffs are here, and that means that the clock is ticking on your chance to win 100 times your cash on daily fantasy baseball. Baseball has never been more exciting, especially here in the state of Texas with stud like Adolis Garcia, Jonah Heim, Corey Seager, Jordan Montgomery, and the return of Mad Max, along with Justin Verlander, Yordan Alvarez, Jose Altuve, and the newly ignited Jose Abreu. You can pick things like home runs, hits, strikeouts, and more, and get 100 times your payout on Sleeper. Get your picks right, and you could win big. You can hang out with your friends on there, create a group chat. It's a lot of fun. I've done it myself all season long with the NFL. Do it with Major League Baseball playoffs. Use the promo code Locked On, and you'll get up to $100 match in your first deposit. Terms and conditions do apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Trust me, Sleeper is a great app. You're going to want to get it. You're going to want to check it out. And you can do it you can all the time, any game. It doesn't matter. Check it out today. And make sure that you listen to the Astros play the Rangers Sunday, game 1 of the ALCS at 7:15 p.m. Catch all the hometown play calls, whether it's for the Astros or the Rangers at Sirius XM on the SXM app. Search Astros or search Rangers and check them out.
I think we prefer you to go and listen to the Astro side of things, but that's just us coming from the Locked On Astros.
I mean,
podcast.
If you want to listen to the Hall of Famer Eric Nadel, I mean, you can listen to the Rangers broadcast, or you can listen to whatever random Joe Schmo is calling the Astros games.
Wow!
Okay, shots fired. Okay,
I mean, it's Stone starts here.
But does your radio guy go into the clubhouse and get like the dude's doing interviews, kicking back with the champagne, and
he's wearing Hawaiian clothes with
Hawaiian
flip-flops on, and he says, "I'm getting wet."
Sparky's getting wet. Oh, it's awesome. Yeah, we have a lot of fun with Steve Sparks, former Major League pitcher. Him with Robert Ford does a phenomenal job. But the reason why I say that is because we're crossed over here, and we got both fan bases. Brice, I love this. I don't know if you're reading the comments on the side, or you seeing them when they pop up on the screen. But look, we're trying to give equal play to everybody in here. Someone said Rangers in 6, and someone replied Rangers in 6 years. So we've got some good banter going back and forth. And so you got to love that.
Yes. So let's go and start taking a look at starting rotation. I know that the Rangers starting rotation has taken some hits over the year. They went ahead and traded for Max Scherzer. That was a great trade. I know that Max Scherzer had some words about the Mets on his way out. I know Verlander had some words for Mets as well, but the Astros had to go out and get Verlander as well. We've had some losses. Jose Urquidy missed most of the season. You had Lance McCullers, who hasn't pitched a single time this year. Luis Garcia, whether it's the pitch clock or pitching in the World Baseball Classic, we don't know, but he was out for most of the year. So the Astros have had a lot of issues with the starting rotation, but here we are now, and they seem to still have a pretty decent rotation. So I would say, despite everything, I would say the Astros have the slight edge with starting pitchers, but let's go and hear your side of things first, Brice.
I mean, I think that the Astros pitching is obviously really great. I mean, Framber Valdez and all these guys have so much postseason experience. That's the thing that you always go up with the Astros. But I think they were really the matchup for them played really, really well against the Twins. The Twins have a really good lineup and a pretty deep lineup, but they expand the zone a lot and they strike out a whole lot. And especially in that game against Christian Javier, who had a phenomenal game. But I think he was definitely beatable. And I think if it was the Rangers in that game facing him and he was pitching like that, I think the Rangers would take advantage, because I think the Rangers offense does really well is, not expand the zone. And the Twins, they were expanding the zone. I mean, there was a lot of walks from Javier in that one. But the top two in this Rangers lineup or this Rangers rotation are fantastic. Nathan Eovaldi has a really long track record of success in the playoffs. And Jordan Montgomery, I mean, he's done really, really well. Game 1 against the Rays was phenomenal, that those 7 shutout innings, and got lit up a little bit against Baltimore, but there was a lot of up and down because the Rangers were, dropping 5 and 4 and so many runs on that Orioles team early. So it was hard for him to get a rhythm. I think he'll bounce back and be a little bit better against the Astros, but again, it's a better lineup in the Astros than the Orioles that is clicking a whole lot more than the Orioles one was. But it kind of depends on Max Scherzer. I mean, he threw a bullpen, I believe it was Wednesday. No.
Yes.
Wednesday. Yes.
Yes.
Where he threw 60 pitches the day after the Rangers clinched, because they didn't lose a game in the ALDS, which, it's pretty nice of them.
Hey, I want to just throw something out there, Brice. Y'all did something that nobody did during the entire regular season. Y'all swept the Orioles.
Something that
was
nobody's
impressive.
done since the Adley Rutschman era in May of 2022. Like,
Right.
I said this before, like if the Rangers took game 1, I'm like, if they take game 1, I think it might be a sweep, because you have your 2 really good starting pitchers on the hill, and they have 2 rookies and, or 2 young guys, at least. I think Kremer is a second-year guy, but I mean, the Rangers really, really gave him the business in game 3. But yeah, I don't know what the Rangers are going to do in game 4 for the rotation. We'll see what Scherzer looks like. I'd imagine somewhere between 50 to 70 pitches. You're hoping for like 4, maybe 5 innings. But I think the combination of Heaney and Dunning as your game 4 starter, it worked really, really well against Baltimore. And it was kind of funny because the one thing that slowed down this Rangers offense the most, besides injuries down the stretch, was bullpen games. Like the Rangers just couldn't hit anybody in a bullpen game. Like it could be the worst bullpen in baseball. Like there was a bullpen game against the White Sox where they scored like 1 or 2 runs. And I was like, you freaking kidding me? It's the White Sox. Like, come on. Same with the Tigers. Like they just could not score on bullpen games. And then here they go, pull one out against the Orioles in game 1 and steal one in Baltimore, which, that was pretty nice. But they've got some options for the long relief guys. There's so many in Martin Perez, in Andrew Heaney, in Dane Dunning, in even Cody Bradford, who was really, really solid in that game 2 win. So the Rangers are going to have to piecemeal it a little bit in terms of their number 3 and 4 starters. Just hope you can get as much as you can out of Scherzer. And really, they just really, really need to win games with Jordan Montgomery and Nate Eovaldi on the hill.
And that's where I think the Astros, if you talk about starting pitching, have the clear advantage, where you have Javier has come into form lately. Justin Verlander really just looks great. I still think that he's going to continue to have he's going to have, I think by the end of this year, one of the best postseasons he's ever had in his career, if not the best. Then you have, guys on the back end, your 3 and 4 starters. Jose Urquidy is absolutely looks phenomenal. He is every bit of a playoff pitcher. He's pitched in the big moments. He's pitched in the World Series, the winningest international pitcher in World Series history. He's 3-0 in the World Series, and he looked phenomenal against the Twins. And the Twins lineup isn't the Rangers lineup, but I think with pitching and with pitchers, and I think, Brice, you could probably agree with this, they get in grooves, right? They go through stretches, they go through their highs and their lows. And we know that when we get Eovaldi in game 2, that he's not the Eovaldi when he came off, because when he came off the IL, I was shocked that he didn't get any bullpen starts, and we just absolutely rocked him. But ever since that start, he's just improved each time out. And I actually work with some friends that are family members of Eovaldi, and they share with me, they said that's the best they've seen him pitch in several years. And he said he felt better in any game that he's felt pretty much in his career. So for the Astros, that's what they have to be looking for, is someone like Eovaldi, kind of an ace in the hole for you guys. But when we go back to Arlington, because we do have such a good history of hitting well in your ballpark, I think the bullpen game will be a huge advantage for us. And that's why I think it's important for the Astros to jump on the Rangers early in these first 2 games, to go back to Arlington up 2-0, so you don't give any breathing room and keep the pressure on the Rangers. But I just think right now the starting pitching goes in our favor. But at the end of the day, you have to go to the plate, you have to hit, and it's going to be about adjustments. I think whether you're starting pitching or relief pitching or hitters, you're talking about who makes the adjustments and who's able to adapt to what's being thrown at them.
Normally I'd say that, but I mean, with Framber Valdez, I'm so confused by him this year. I'm sure y'all are too, because he'll have one game, we'll go out there and throw a no-hitter, and the next game he'll get absolutely shelled. And like, I feel like the stuff's not any different. Like, he's still throwing that crazy sinker and that really good curveball and everything else that works. But I don't know. I mean, he did not look very good in his start against the Twins, and he was opposite Pablo Lopez, who was phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal performance, like one of the best postseason starts I think I've ever seen, given the context. But like, the Rangers have seen him well, and Marcus Semien really does not like him. Like, honestly, in that game too, I would not be shocked if Marcus Semien started off with the Crawford box leadoff home run, because there is a lot of bad blood there on this entire team. And like, that just feels like something that's going to happen, like, because Marcus Semien is still mad about that game in July or whatever it was. And there's a lot of bad blood between these teams. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Well, I think that's what makes this whole matchup great, is the bad blood between the two teams. And if you're having some issues, maybe instead of going doctor, why don't you check out the Jace case? And this episode is brought to you by the Jace case.
That's right. The Jace case provides you with 5 life-saving antibiotics for emergency use. All it takes is to get the Jace case, to fill out a simple online form. In some cases, jump on a quick call with a board-certified physician. Get ongoing care from our physicians at any treatment-related questions that you want. Doctor created, doctor recommended. Don't get caught unprepared. Everyone should be empowered to care for themselves and their loved ones during the unexpected. Jace handles everything from online evaluation to licensed pharmacy medication delivery and ongoing consultation and care. That's right. You don't get in your car. You don't go to some random pharmacy. You don't even end up in some place you don't know who the doctor is. These are trusted, highly professional doctors that are there to help you. And look, we know that whether you're in Dallas or Houston, we get natural disasters. On the coast, we have hurricanes. Up north, they'll have tornadoes, they'll have violent storms, and sometimes things get cut off. You don't have what you need. You can't get where you need to go. And if you have the Jace case, you'll have stuff right there for you. And again, it's simple. You go online, fill out the form, then you get a prescription, life-saving medications right to your door. They give you peace of mind so that you are not just hoping that you have access to medication emergency. Jace case, Jace Medical, make sure you have it on hand. So get $20 off these life-saving antibiotics today from Jace Medical by using my promo code Locked On at checkout on jacemedical.com. That's JASE medical.com.
Hey guys, we're all excited about the game 1 tomorrow. It's going to start at 7:15 Central Standard Time at Minute Maid Park. It's going to be Justin Verlander versus some guy from Rangers. I don't even know his name. I don't know any of the Rangers pitchers.
Jordan Montgomery.
Whoever that is. I actually wanted to trade for him, but you can catch all the play-by-play action at SiriusXM. Just download the SXM app and search Astros, and you can hear the Astros taking on the Texas Rangers, and hopefully the best team will win. And that's all we can really hope for in this series. It's going to be a tough matchup. I know both teams have had their ups and downs. At both teams, like the Astros had such a hard finish to the season. It just seems like they didn't want to win it, but the Rangers would go through this.
I mean, the Arizona Diamondbacks just punted a game in the final day of the season.
We're not even talking about that.
Hold up.
No, just
hold up.
like
You guys,
all credit in the world. The Astros won and they won the division, and that's fine. But I was just really annoyed. Like, the defense, the fielding, everything about that game was like they could not have bent over more for you if they wanted to. Like, my goodness, they had a guy with a 311 OPS leading off. I mean, come on.
Hey, look, I get it, but it's not like the Mariners didn't roll out their double and AAA club out for you guys, and
they didn't.
Got one run.
They
against
didn't.
them.
They didn't. They threw Logan Gilbert. Are you kidding me? That guy's an
all-star.
but
didn't they pull him early? And didn't they pull their guys early?
He threw 6 innings. And that was literally the best he's looked all year. The best he's looked
Bryce.
all year.
The Mariners were pissed that y'all actually knocked them out the day before. So the Mariners were like,
"Yeah, they had
we're
something
going to
to
show
play
the
for,"
Texas
and
Rangers.
they did.
Look,
The offense didn't happen. It didn't happen.
well,
it's
next
fine.
time we give you a lead of 6.5 games, you need to keep it, okay?
All right. Next time we'll make it 10.
But this has been a year though, Bryce, because up until this year, we've been the alpha, we've been the front runner, we've been the one being chased all season long. And I even got to talk to Alex Bregman at a Raising Cane's event, and he just said it basically comes down to execution. And when we execute our game plan, we do what we are capable of doing, then things take care of themselves. And this team knew down the stretch they weren't playing great baseball. I mean, we walked out of the regular season with a losing record at home, and their first playoff game at home, they won. And so having home field advantage, I don't think is the disadvantage that some people are making it out to be, almost like a boogeyman type of story. Oh,
500 record at home.
Well, yeah, I know, but that's why, anyways, look, the week off didn't affect the Astros like it affected all the other teams that are crying about it. Because
I'm glad that y'all actually took care of business, so it wouldn't be the entire story. Like, oh my god,
that's
like it's so annoying because like the Rangers just beat the crap out of two teams that combined for 200 wins, and everyone's like, "Wham, format." It's like they were just better. Like the Dodgers were a flawed team. The Braves got beat by a really good Phillies team, and it's like
you pissed them off at the same time with the whole attaboy.
Yeah, like it's not some indictment, and like sometimes the best team during the regular season doesn't always win. The Rangers were the best team in the regular season in 2012, and they got knocked out in a one-game playoff. Like it happens. It happens sometimes, and you don't hear anyone else crying about it. Like, grow up, win your games.
Well, and I think the Braves manager Snitker said it the best. They asked him about it. Bob Nightingale asked him about the format, and he goes, "I don't know. I look over at the Astros; they didn't seem to have an issue with it." So he's not making excuses for his guys, and that's the bottom line. Like,
actually, if the Rangers lose, it's only because they had one more day of rest than the Astros. That I'm going to preemptively say.
There you go. There you go. You're going to find that out, aren't you? But no,
so
but
you're going to cry format. Okay, I see, Bryce.
But Bryce,
I was just going to go ahead and say, let's talk lineup real quick, and then let's get to keys to victories for both teams. So I know everybody's talking about, I think his name's Evan Carter. He's kind of come out of nowhere and become kind of a playoff hero for the Rangers this year. I think a lot of people are talking about he's not a nobody, but Jose Abreu for the Astros has kind of come alive at the end of the season, and he had the 3 home runs in the playoff in the ALDS. Is there anybody else besides Carter that the Astros need to worry about?
Literally everyone. I mean, really, literally everyone. Like this lineup, that's the thing that makes it so good. I mean, there is no surprise. Surprise, the best lineup in the AL is the best lineup in the AL. Like, shocker. I mean, Evan Carter was a kid who was a second-round pick in the 2020 shortened draft. For Astros fans don't know about him. He was drafted out of Elizabethton, Tennessee, which is actually where Jason Witten was from. But outside of those two, there's like maybe like 500 people in the whole town. Like there's not a whole lot. And he actually came up literally the day after that Astros sweep because Adolis Garcia went on the IL. At the time, we thought, oh no, he's done. He's absolutely done. It looked like maybe a meniscus tear. He'd be out like 4 to 6 to 9 months. Thankfully, he came back in 10 days, and Evan Carter was the spark this team needed. I mean, he was huge. They call him Little Savior.
Wow,
which is fun. He has it's all in joking. Like he was never expected to fix the bullpen or the other histories of the team, but it kind of gave them a little bit of juice. I mean, Josh Young is a starting all-star third baseman this year, and he's hitting 8th in the lineup, and he's got a 1200 OPS in the playoffs so far. He's hitting 400. Corey Seager only has a 1500 OPS because he's got an on-base percentage of 680 in the playoffs, because nobody wants any part of him. They are terrified, and they're like, oh, we'll let Mitch Garver beat us. Well, Mitch Garver has 7 RBIs in 2 playoff games. Like, he beat him. He beat him bad. And so, like, this entire lineup is clicking outside of Marcus Semien, who's got, a 501 OPS in 5 playoff games, but he's had good at-bats, and he always plays really, really well against Houston. He's got a 1214 OPS against Houston this year, hitting 400 on base, over 500, slugging over 700, like, putting up numbers against Houston, because he's got some extra motivation. So, I mean, the long and short of it is like this lineup doesn't beat themselves. They're not going to expand the zone. They trust the guy behind them in the lineup. So they don't have to play hero ball. They're going to make you beat them in the zone. And if you do, they'll tip their cap. But if you don't, you're going to walk them, and then you're going to walk the next guy. And then somebody is going to come up with a big hit in the gaps with runners in scoring position, or, maybe another grand slam. We'll see.
And, that's what I would say to counter what you guys have is, looking over what, we have. Number one, you had talked about the playoff experience. We've got guys that are on the all-time postseason home run list, guys that are on the postseason RBI list for career. And even though Alex Bregman only hit 200 in the ALDS, he is a guy that shines in bright moments. But Yordan Alvarez is hitting absolutely out of his mind, almost 500 at this point. Jose Abreu has caught fire. Mauricio Dubon, who isn't even going to start every game, is on the bench. We have Yainer Diaz, who we all want to be catching more. We have that hot bat.
No, Dusty's doing great. More Martin Maldonado games. I trust
exactly.
Dusty.
Well, and that's the thing. I mean, our catcher spot offensively has never been one to write home about, but Jeremy Pena's glove has showed up. He's in this lineup, and his bat is there, and I think his bat is awake enough. I just like what the Astros, have here. They have a team that has been through pretty much every scenario. We went to the World Series last year, and I remember in Philadelphia when they pummeled us for the 5 home runs against Lance McCullers, and I believe everybody in Philadelphia felt like they had metal plated armor the next game, and then we go out and throw a multi-pitcher no-hitter with Christian Javier, and then we put up 2 or 3 home runs. And that's where this offense really shines, is when the pressure's on. But the key for the Astros lineup, Eric, is that they jump on the pitchers early, that they don't let the pitchers get comfortable, and they make it uncomfortable quick. And if they can do that and the starting pitchers are putting up zeros, I think this lineup can be a good counter, because I think who we have at the starting pitching and the relief pitching can neutralize, and we have proven to neutralize and get a lot of strikeouts from the Texas Rangers, but it's not going to be easy.
Yeah, outside of Hector Neris, that little kind of implosion he had, I believe it was game 1, the Astros bullpen was shut down against the Twins, and they've been pretty good against the Rangers in the regular season, while the Rangers bullpen has been a little bit liable at times, not just against the Astros, but against other teams. So I know that they held strong during the postseason so far for the most part. So we'll have to see how that goes. But I just think that, and Brett, you're forgetting Mitch Molesky, that one season where he showed so much promise at catcher, and Jason Castro in his early years, he offered some promise as a catcher. And don't forget 2017 when we had Brian McCann.
Hey, this is what I want. I want Jason Castro, who absolutely broke up in a game in Boston against Eovaldi when things were tied 2-2 late. And that's when we sunk the Red Sox 9-2 in that game. I want Jason Castro to throw the first pitch at home if Eovaldi's starting, and then show that highlight before he does the first pitch. I'm all about mind games. Let's do it. Let's just really.
Oh yeah, you're definitely not getting the mind of the guy who has the second best ERA among postseason starters that are still in it. Yeah, that'll do it. Jason Castro. That's what'll get in Nate Eovaldi's head. Not the 101 win Orioles, not the 99 win Rays, but Jason freaking Castro. I mean,
hey, I'm looking for anything at this point. We got.
I don't blame you
because I'm serious. Eovaldi, he is a guy that I think some people wanted in Houston, but I think too, well, I don't even think he wanted to be in Houston.
Right.
He had some pretty negative. I guess if you like winning World Series, Brice left.
I think he's having some technical difficulties.
Okay, that was Eric with the hot button. I did not do that. That was not H-Town Wheelhouse. I don't Brice, he does that to me too. So he gets a little power hungry. He's got this rip thing going. Yes, exactly. So no, but seriously, back on Eovaldi. Look, the way he's pitching right now, he is the perfect counter to an Astros lineup that is prone to get really, really hot. And so that's going to be a fun game. And let me ask you guys this. Are these going to be high scoring shootouts, or are these going to be low scoring affairs? Are we going to get a mixture of both?
I think the game 1 is like, because if it was Eovaldi versus like Verlander, I would say like that's going to be a pitcher's duel. That's going to be a really low scoring game. And then in game 3, I'm not sure about Montgomery. I mean, I've loved him. He's been great ever since the Rangers traded for him. Like actually, the prospect capital to get him is probably the second most behind Reagans, who I hated that deal at the time because I knew Cole Reagans had that next gear in him, and then look at him go with the Royals and be amazing. Maybe actually that was a sleeper agent move, so he could have those starts against the Astros where he shut them down the stretch to keep the Rangers in it, and keep them in the hunt for the AL West. But yeah, I think there's going to be a little bit of both. I think whoever the bullpen game is, game 4, and there's definitely potential for things to go off the rails with Scherzer. I hope it doesn't, but anybody who's coming off an injury like that, even, a surefire Hall of Famer like Scherzer, like there's potential for it to go sideways.
Yeah. You mentioned Framber Valdez earlier. He had a bad game in the ALDS. And one thing we know about him is, yes, he's liable. He sometimes has those bad games, but he's not going to follow that up with another bad game, especially in the playoffs. And so he's going to go out there and probably dominate. So I think that you're going to see a dominant Framber Valdez. Now, Justin Verlander, he has some history of maybe not being so great in the postseason, having some good starts and bad starts. So his start against Twins was great. Now, I hope that he has the same thing, but I think that if those two guys go out there and pitch 6 innings of baseball, I think the Astros win. I just think that the Astros will probably score some runs. I know it depends on what the other guys do. I mean, on the other side of the mound, but I just think that the key is going to be games 3 and 4, especially at Arlington. I don't know. I saw that the games are already sold out, and I'm pretty sure Houston is getting close to being sold out, if not already sold out. And I know that we've seen a lot of crowds across baseball getting really super excited about this. So this is y'all's 3rd time going to the ALCS. ALCS. So I'm sure that there's
Rangers have actually never lost in the ALCS before. So hopefully
that's true.
That history holds true. They've also never not gone to the World Series when they beat the Rays in the first round of the playoffs. So I'm hoping both of those things hold true.
Oh, well, there you go. See, I didn't know the second one. I knew the first thing. I didn't know the second one about the Rays. I'm telling you, he's getting a little. I'm going to take that power away from you, Eric. Good Lord. How rude to treat our guests like this.
It was 10 and 11 when they both faced off against the Rays in both of those years. And then it was the Yankees in the ALCS in 2010, striking out A-Rod to go to the World Series. I'm sure everybody loved that moment because everybody hates A-Rod. Yes. And then 2011 was the just back and forth ALCS between the Rangers and the Tigers, where there was the walk-off 11th inning grand slam by Nelson Cruz in game 3, I believe it was, back on that staff with Justin Verlander and Max Scherzer.
Yeah, I remember my dad was like, we're rooting for the Rangers. I'm like, why? I'm an Astros fan. It's a Texas team. You're supposed to root for the Texas team. I'm like,
it was an interleague. It wasn't really a rivalry at all then. There were like some games played, but y'all were in the NL back then. We were in the AL. Like there was no like real animosity like there is now.
Look, we got
now
extorted.
There's beef.
Look, we got extorted by Bud Selig. It's okay, whatever.
Who didn't?
Yeah, exactly. So, but Brice, the one thing you didn't mention, the one aspect of those wins to get to the World Series, is the Rangers didn't face the Astros in any of those. So this is the first time they've had to repeat history with the Astros, who are kings of the AL and our 7th straight
American League Series,
the Astros League Series championship. So welcome to our series. It's named after us now.
I don't think that's how it works. I'm actually pretty sure that's not how it works.
That is how it works. I promise.
Y'all have lost a lot more in this series, so you definitely have the edge there. So I'm hoping you can use that edge to keep losing in the ALCS.
I love it. Okay. Super glad we brought you on. All right, now, okay, Eric, are we doing predictions? Because let me just tell you this, Brice. I flipping hate predictions. Okay, I hate them with a passion.
Well, I predicted the Rangers would win the World Series in my playoff preview picks, and so far I've got all of my AL picks right except for the Astros winning, which it was my podcast, and I just can't pick the Astros to win anything. That's just on principle.
All right, Eric. Get a little too happy with that. That was, bro.
I know.
Don't put that on me. Don't put that on me, Ricky Bobby. All right. So, Eric, you go first. Since you're the one that makes us do predictions, you're going to be the first one.
I think it's going to be a tough series. I think that the Astros are probably going to take the 2 games at home. I always say that the road team is going to typically win the first game on the road. So I say that the Rangers probably win game 3 on the road. And then from there, it just depends on what the number 4 pitchers do. Can Urquidy do what he did against the Twins? Who's going to be in the bullpen game for the Rangers? And then you start back over with the top of the rotation. So I think that this series may go 6, but I can see there being a lot better pitching in this series than a lot of people think. A lot of people think that there's going to be a lot of home runs. There could be a game where it's like 12-11. But I just see this being a better pitched series than we think, especially in some games. There's going to be a big blowout in one of these games, but I think it's going to go 6.
6 games who?
Astros.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Just making sure we got that on record. Okay. Bryce, you go, then I'll go last.
I think the Rangers are going to be really generous and gift the Astros 1. So I'm saying a gentleman's sweep, Rangers in 5.
Wow. Oh, wow. You didn't even, Eric took 2 paragraphs to get to his. You were just cool, calm, and collected.
I mean, the Rangers just haven't lost a playoff game in the Bruce Bochy, Evan Carter, Chris Young era. So the Rangers haven't lost a playoff game since 2016. I mean, the Astros have lost so many more playoff games since then.
They have.
Gosh, that's embarrassing.
They have. I know. You have to get there to lose them, right? So
who cares about that part?
I honestly think that the Astros can take this in 5, but I do see it going to a 6 game. If the Astros do what they can do and their pitching holds up, I don't see this coming back to Houston. If I'm being perfectly honest, I think even if the Astros split 1-1 at home, I think they can take all 3 in Arlington just because of the way that they've played. And that's no disrespect to the Rangers. It could totally go 7 games. It could go, it could go anyway, but I think the Astros can wrap things up in 5, but my heart tells me that it may take a 6 game to come back to Houston. They did that last year in the World Series. I was here for that clinching game, so I don't mind that scenario either.
Wait, did the Astros win the World Series? I didn't hear anything about that.
Yeah, my son and I were present. We were present. Someone said Brice has potato Wi-Fi.
No, that's not his Wi-Fi.
Eric,
that's just
Eric has a happy trigger finger. The only thing that the main thing I'm hoping for this game, for the state of Texas, don't let it go to 7 games either way, because I don't think the state infrastructure will survive that.
Why? It's so stressful.
It will burn. The whole world will burn if the Astros and Rangers go to a game 7. No matter the outcome, I don't think any of us will survive. The planet won't survive. It's just going to be eaten and swallowed up. It's just please don't do this to us teams.
All right.
We have to ask you this. Someone says, do you remember David Freeze?
I don't know who that is.
Never mind.
I don't know who that is. I don't recognize that man.
I think he's an AC guy, so with that last name. So anyway, so before this series starts, I want to know, why am I going to hate Creed from now on?
I mean, that's your own terrible music taste.
What's the whole thing about Creed?
So basically, so the Rangers started playing Creed higher, specifically in the locker room in the second half, just to kind of keep things loose. And Evan Carter, the 21-year-old, he has a 40-year-old man. He basically is a 40-year-old man in every way except for physically, because he's married, he's got he's gonna buy a house in the off season, he's got a dog. He is just a very grown man. He has he likes 80s music and old music, but this team just bonded over just singing Creed, Take Me Higher. They had a Creed sing along during the game in Globe Life Field. Everyone was feeling it, paying to the guys in the bullpen, and they were singing along as well. Like, it is just, the vibes are sky high with this team right now in a way that we hadn't really seen them be at all this season. Through the ups and the downs, we hadn't really seen the vibes be just this good. And allegedly, the insinuation is that the Rangers have been riding their magic number to win the World Series on third string catcher Austin Hedges' butt before every game. So yeah, the vibes are high. Creed, Austin Hedges, like, it's just, things are going really well for the Rangers at this moment. Things are feeling great, and hopefully they can take them higher all the way to the World Series.
I do not know what Eric is doing with the graphics. Oh, okay. No, but someone, I don't know if you saw that quote. That was actually pretty funny. Chris Solis says, "Dude, this dynasty is not being taken down by Creed. I'm sorry, not enough."
If it is, I want a written apology.
Baby Shark, okay, but not Baby.
No,
actually, Baby Shark,
man.
Baby Shark was Elvis Andrus' walk-up music for a little while because his kid liked it, and so it stuck. And he had a hot streak when he was hitting to Baby Shark.
Please,
wow.
no, not again.
Yeah.
I can't handle that.
Oh, look, someone said, "Oh, I like this. Rocky beat Creed twice. The first time was a bad judge's call." Hey, so I'm loving it. Look, I love the interaction of our fans. Brice, this has been a really cool. Love having you on. It's been a while since you visited with us, and I love this discussion. For us to be able to have this discussion, because I do think sometimes people take things a little too seriously and it gets a little too heated online. So hopefully people are coming here and able to, talk a little smack, but, be civil about it. So,
oh no, I actually hate y'all.
Well, and that's, we get it. I mean, you hate the top dog, you know what, but you hate us because you ain't us. So, hey, this has been a crossover edition of the most amazing podcast network on the planet, Locked On Podcast Network, with that guy right there with the blue hat and the Rangers stuff behind him. That's Brice Paterick of Locked On Rangers. If you're not subscribed to his channel, by golly, what's your problem? Go subscribe to him today. That's Eric the Man Huysman, or Rip the Man Huysman, and I am H-Town Wheelhouse. This is the one and only Locked On Network with Locked On Astros and Locked On Rangers. We are your team every day. Sorry, Rangers, you're going down. Go Astros!
Astros in 6. No
Brice,
comment?
you still got time.
Oh, Rangers at 5.
Something.